All right, we're live. Hey everyone, welcome to Victory Condition Gaming. My name is Doug. Tonight we have quite a few guests on with me tonight. I actually have a co-host for a change, that never happens. Tonight I have Shoreless Skies founder Derek Kamal. Is it Kamal? I don't want to mispronounce it.
You
I said it Kamal. Yes, nice on the first try.
As long as you don't say camel, we're fine.
No. Oh. So we have Derek Kamal on, and he's got a project on Kickstarter right now, Heavy Metal Thunder Mouse. It's an RPG. It's pretty. I've heard him describe it as Mouse on a Motorcycle meets Sons of Anarchy, the role-playing game, which is awesome. I don't know how you can combine those two, but it is just genius. And if you're interested in this Kickstarter, I put the link in the description of the video below. Feel free to click on that. But after we have our discussion this evening, so please check that out. Also joining us is Jacob Hunt, the artist for this project. And Jacob is a phenomenal artist. And I didn't put the link to your website in the description yet, but I will. So anybody who's interested in looking at Jacob's work and portfolio, please take a look at that. And then my co-host tonight is Kent Blue from the Roll to Play podcast, an actual play podcast. You should definitely check that out. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me tonight and being part of the show.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
So, Derek, tell us a little bit. You're the game designer behind this project. Tell us a little bit about Heavy Metal Thunder Mouse. Or actually, why don't you tell us a little bit about Shoreless Skies first? What's that all about?
It's my imprint. It's my own self-publishing company. So, I guess it was last year that. Yeah, early last year, late 2015 was when I officially incorporated. I got a good tip from Eloy Lasanta from Third Eye Games. I was like, should I just put my stuff out as me, or should I have a company name? He's like, dude, put your company name out there too. That way you get two names on it.
Sure.
And so I thought, well, if I'm gonna put a company out there instead of just having the doing business as on my tax form, I might as well spend the $50 and incorporate, so I could be official and separate my taxes and have a tax code and all that kind of stuff and be a legit business.
Sure.
And yeah, and so the first product that I released under Shoreless Skies was the Dig, which is a light role-playing game, real rules light, real story-driven fantasy role-playing game where everybody plays as dwarves. Jacob did all the awesome art for that as well. And that was the theme for that. The setting was based on a book I had written called Homes, which is a fantasy novel. So the second thing I put out for Shoreless Skies was Homes, the novel. Actually, that was the third thing. The second thing I put out, again, I had Jacob do the art, was a supplement for Quill by Scott Malthouse, Trollish Delver. And so I really like Quill, and so I wanted to do like the fantasy version of that. So I put that out, and then Homes, and now a couple other little things, and then now Heavy Metal Thunder Mouse. So it's a way for me to get my stuff out there. You know, since I've been writing for ages, it's like, well, let's get it out there. Let's make it official.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Heavy Metal Thunder Mouse has hit. You know, it's funding goal with like plenty of time left, and it just you're just hitting some stretch goals now. So congratulations on that right off.
Yeah, thanks.
That's great. Everybody that I was telling before we came on live, I was saying that I've shared the image and this event with a few groups on social media. And everybody, you know, I've had multiple people say, "Hey, that reminds me of Mouse on a Motorcycle. I love that book growing up. You know, let me take a look at this project." So I think you've tapped into something that people kind of relate to their childhood, and you know, I think put a new twist on it. So I think it's really smart. It's really kind of a neat project.
Yeah, it's either Mouse and the Motorcycle or Biker Mice from Mars.
No, that's true.
And I kind of got a little annoyed because everybody was like, "Oh yeah, this is just like Biker Mice from Mars." Like, no, it's not. It's not. These are terrestrial mice. These are not alien mice. But you know, hopefully we'll get to our second stretch goal, which is Liz from Angry Hamster, and she has a sci-fi setting in mind, or
Mhm.
there's stuff in the book that talks about how to adapt your own setting. So people who are just dying to live out their Biker Mice from Mars childhood can hopefully do so through this game.
Nice. Yeah, we've had Liz on before on this channel before, and she's just a delight. She's wonderful. She's so smart, and
Yeah.
it's just awesome how her mind works, and she's just a phenomenal human being.
Yeah, I was
I
very
saw
excited.
I saw the image. I think Dog and Thimble podcast shared it. I saw, the mouse on the motorcycle, and immediately I thought of the mouse on the motorcycle. But I'm sure I've read the books, but I primarily remember the Saturday morning live action movie they made of it, and so that really hit with me, And so I immediately went to the Kickstarter, checked it out, and backed it immediately because it's just such an evocative image that like immediately transported me back to my childhood and memories of watching that TV movie.
That's like the stop motion one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't remember watching that as a kid, but and all the bits of research I did, I stumbled upon that on YouTube, and I was like, man, this is nostalgic.
Yeah, when I went back to look because I remember the movie, and I started looking on IMDb and I couldn't really find it, so I was like, did I make this up in my head? And then finally on YouTube is where I started finding clips of it, and
Yeah,
that's awesome. I don't even remember that, to be honest with you. That's I don't know if that was after my time or before my. It's probably before my time. No, it's probably after my time. I think I'm a little older than Kent, so
yeah.
That's very cool. So Derek, tell us a little bit more about heavy metal Thunder Mouse. Tell us a little bit about the setting. Tell us a little bit about just give us like the 2-minute sales pitch on the game itself, if you can.
Well, as you said, it is the almost said Biker Mice from Mars. I've been infected. It is the mouse and the motorcycle meets Sons of Anarchy, but it's cute. So it's meant to be fun and lighthearted and kind of have that Saturday morning cartoon vibe. It's set in a fictional contemporary American city, Thunder City, USA, and it's a city that's not so much in decline, but it's lost its prominence, which kind of freed up some space for the mice to do what they want to do. And it's home to the only mice in the world who have figured out how to make motorcycles that go without making the sound. And so the city is populated with several different biker clubs, and I use the term motorcycle club and biker gang interchangeably. It's implied that biker gang is kind of derogatory, but they both work. So there's several different clubs that people will identify with, and they'll make their own. There's very little human interaction. The humans are just kind of these set pieces that go around causing trouble. Though, of course, if a table wants to do the mouse and the motorcycle thing where they're like buddies with the humans, that's an option. And the animals obviously can communicate with each other. There are greaser birds and territorial crabs and frilly cats and grumpy old dogs and all kinds of critters that are at odds with the motorcycle clubs, and the motorcycle clubs are at odds with each other. So if you take the two parts, mouse and biker gang, and you put them together, you've got kind of two spheres from which a lot of really interesting drama can unfold. So that's the goal of the game, is to get you in a mouse, get you in a biker gang, and see what happens.
But it sounds I don't know how familiar you are, but it sounds a lot like Mouse Guard. Like you took Mouse Guard and like you made it like current, and instead of like a fantasy setting, you're making it like a modernized setting, and it's awesome. I think anybody who's a fan of David Peterson and that world would also be interested in this setting as well. So hopefully anybody that's seen our Mouse Guard content on this channel will also check out this project, because I think both genres would mesh well.
I'll have to go back and check out your Mouse Guard stuff, because I've been aware of it forever, but I've never played it and I've never read the comics.
Oh,
so,
you have? Oh.
So I need to. So that's now on my short list. I need to go check it out. But I remember, I think in the initial kind of preliminary stages, I sent Jacob some Mouse Guard stuff just as reference material. Obviously, our mice look quite a lot different.
Yeah, David. I've actually talked to David Peterson a few times, and he's just phenomenal. And another person that's just really talented, really
cool,
great artist. And yeah, he has another. He's another one of those guys that just has this mind that just kind of thinks in different ways, and you can. It's neat talking with him. So yeah, no, it's. I think it's going to be great. I love the fact that you have this setting where it's like a Thunder City and motorcycle gangs with it's freaking hilarious. It is. It's like it's great. I love it.
It's so absurd that you can't not have fun with it. Like I'm sure there are tables that are gonna like have some high drama and like some Sons of Anarchy-esque issues, but it's like when you say mice and biker gangs, it's just so awesome and funny and absurd that like there's no way to not have fun with it.
You can't not chuckle like when you say that. Now you said one of the videos for your YouTube or for your Kickstarter, you mentioned that you came up with this idea as you were reading Mouse on a Motorcycle to your daughter, and I think that's just awesome. Like I think that being a parent, like I could see my sitting down with my daughter and playing this game with them. And I don't know if Kent, I know the reason why I came and saw this Kickstarter is because Kent was backing it. And I know Kent's got a couple young boys. Do you think this would be something that they'd get into? I know they probably don't role play a whole lot, or they might not even, express the desire to play role playing games yet, Kent. But do you think this would be something that you'd sit down and play with the boys?
Oh yeah, definitely. We've done a little bit of No Thank You Evil with my oldest. So, but yeah, he was into Mouse Guard for a little bit there. So I think that my oldest would definitely be drawn to it. My youngest is 4, but I think he will be too. I mean, they see me with games a lot, so I think they'll naturally kind of be interested in it.
How old is your oldest?
He's 7.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
And with that in mind, I'm kind of hopefully before we launch the book and do fulfillment with the Kickstarter, I'm hoping to do something with Fate Accelerated, just for that reason, because it kind of lowers the hurdle a little bit for getting into the games. I think it could be more fun for younger players and people who want to get into the game with a little less to deal with. So hopefully there'll be some kind of companion PDF that'll adapt the rules to Fate Accelerated, which will make it even more accessible. So
nice. Yeah, that's good. It's, always I love products that kind of eliminate some of that hurdle to learning or RPGs. Especially if you want to. The goal is always to try to grow the hobby. So anytime you can prevent obstacles from having people learn the game, it's always a good thing. The other thing that I love the fact that once this is all said and done, it's already hit funding. Once you put this book out, you're always going to have that book as a reminder of the time that you sat down with your daughter and read. That to me is of course, being a father, that makes me want to back this project even more and give you even more oh, come on, let's help this guy, because you're going to have that emotional attachment to this project once it's all said and done as well, which is just phenomenal. And I can't imagine. It makes me wish that I had something like that when Sydney was younger.
Well, it's cool because it's already kind of her game. Like she's only played with me once or twice, but it's already the Ralph game for her. She's 5, almost 6. So yeah, I hope, like you're saying, hopefully that'll be something she can kind of go back to and see it as not necessarily something we did together, but in a way something that we did together.
Absolutely. So you've mentioned that this game uses Fate, the Fate system. I'm going to admit that I have not played Fate yet. I know Kent said that he hasn't yet either, but I know I am familiar with Powered by the Apocalypse, and this game kind of meshes the two together in that it has playbooks, but yet it still uses Fate. How did you come up with that system?
I love the accessibility. It's tricky because Fate is more accessible, I think, than Powered by the Apocalypse because it's more story driven and you kind of complete the character yourself with the aspects, and there's a lot more wiggle room. But on the other hand, PBTA games are more accessible because you just have boxes that you check and then your character is set up.
Right.
And in the initial design phases, I almost went with a Fate version of Powered by the Apocalypse, in that it would use the rules of Fate, but the playbook would be set up in such a way that you make your selections on the playbook itself by circling and checking the way you do with Powered by the Apocalypse games, but I decided against that kind of early on. So it's less a combination of the two and more of having the character playbooks inspired by Powered by the Apocalypse, because we had there's a lot going on with the character sheets. So in the first round of playtesting, it was just an 8.5 by 11 sheet, and there was your mouse and all their aspects and their skills and their stunts and stress and all that stuff. And then below that was the motorcycle with the stunts and the stress and and then there was a separate page for the gang. And so having all that together was just a bit much to shuffle around. So condensing it down into a landscape oriented foldable made it a lot easier to manipulate. And so you had all the information at your fingertips. So if you wanted to do the gangs, or you're playing something with the gangs, you could just flip to the back to see the gangs. If you're using your bike, you had a page for that. And then of course it frees up the front so that you can put an image of your mouse and a little description, which is something that I really like about the PBTA playbooks, because it gives you a sense of it's a reminder of who your character is, and it gets you going. It's, we talked about lowering the hurdles. I think that's almost a tangible, immediate way to do that, because even if you've played the character a few times, you're sitting at the table, well, you have this image that you maybe copy and paste it off the internet or from the book itself, and you got your descriptors, and it makes it feel a little less clinical. Whereas, so again, we've been talking about how it's a little evocative of the Mouse and the Motorcycle and some childhood stuff. So actually having a book seemed appropriate too. So it was really more about good design sense. And then luckily, now that we're funded, Paolo Bosi, the layout guy, is going to be able to take that and make it even prettier and better. And so yeah, I was pleased with how it came out.
Nice. Maybe add a little more art for the book.
Yeah, definitely a little frills. Adapt some of Jacob's art. He'll throw in some of his own stuff to kind of make it extra awesome instead of just the plain page that it is now. Now you can check out if you're a backer. Early access.
Nice. Now Jacob Hunt, he's done most of the art for this. Or have you done all the art for this book, or most of it? I think it's pretty much everything I've seen is pretty much your art.
Yeah, I did all of the illustration.
Nice. So let's talk a little bit about the art, because the art, I think, really, the idea is really cool, but I think the art is going to get people to kind of sit up. Once they see it on the shelf, they're going to pick it up and really look at it, because it's great. Jacob, you're a very talented guy. I'm going to tell you this right now, and I'm not trying to. If anybody is interested in Jacob's work, I'm going to put the link to his website down below. This guy has a phenomenal resume so far and portfolio. Jacob, you've worked with quite a few big, you've worked for Samsung, you've done projects for Samsung, for Verizon, for Oprah. What's that like, man? You're that's pretty cool.
Well, it's fun being a freelancer, because you always can get these random cool gigs, and I've got a pretty, I guess, diverse background or skill set, so I can kind of do a lot of different things. So I did character design for Verizon, and they made an online ad with little characters, which I never got to see too much of it. I think it was in markets where I don't live, but
sure, okay, yeah, because they're all over. Yeah, that's cool. And then you get tied up. You get tied in with Shoreless Skies and this Derek guy. How did that come about?
Derek's just a old friend of mine.
Nice.
I've known his wife since high school, and then when I met Derek, we found that we have some overlap in interests. I've always been a huge Tolkien fan, and we've just hung out a few times over the years, and he knew that I was illustrator, and I moved to Atlanta to shortly after I moved to Atlanta, I started grad school at SCAD and studied comic book art. So,
Okay, yeah.
you know, developed my skills in that area and been posting my stuff forever. So, you know, when Derek started these projects, reached out to me, and, you know, it was a no-brainer. I did that stuff for the dig, and, you know, it was a ton of fun. And then he told me about this mouse idea. And
Did you think he was crazy at first?
oh no, I mean, I'm not a tabletop RPG guy, but like I have, well, I mean, first of all, just all the concepts Derek came up with for the dig and his book Homes.
Mm-hmm.
And then when, you know, I've gone over there to play the game at least once, and just like, he's like got a wealth of ideas. And,
Sure.
I mean, I almost didn't need to know that there was anything beyond mice and motorcycles. I just knew that he would have a lot of depth to it and a lot of just different interesting things for me to draw. And I mean,
Yes.
it's gonna be
So
fun.
did you play, when you said you played that, you're talking about Heavy Metal Thunder Mouse, you played that with him? I came with it.
I haven't played that any. I went over for we did I guess we did the dig.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we kind of made a sample video for people learning to play the game.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Okay.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. Do you guys play anything else besides, you know, I know before, Derek, you said that you play Lord of the Rings. You play that LCG, or?
Yeah, I've been playing the LCG for a long time. I actually do a podcast on the LCG when I can. Like Jacob was saying, we're both pretty big Tolkien nerds, and
Nice.
so I play that. And then I had the only RPG campaign I have going now is the One Ring by Cubicle
Yep.
7, which is a really good. It's funny to get into that, and then compared with like PBTA and Fate, it's a little crunchy, but we have a really awesome group of players. So we've had that campaign going for a few years, and then I do one shots when I can. So what have I played recently? We did Craig Campbell, another local guy who's a game designer who's doing our first stretch goal, has a game he's working on called Die Laughing, which is a GM-less RPG where you're in a horror movie, like a campy B horror movie. So we played that over the summer. We played Apillion by Magpie not too long ago. Yeah, and then just whenever I can, I don't get to game as much as I would like, but whenever I can, it tends to be PBTA stuff. You know, I love Dungeon World and all that kind of stuff. So,
Nice.
and then of course board games whenever I can get them.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so let's go back. We'll go back to Heavy Metal Thunder Mouse. So we kind of wanted to hit that a little bit. So how easy do you said you're going to put out a Fate accelerated version? Hopefully, you said you still are not sure if that's going to be after the fact or before this.
Yeah, I'm not sure when I'll be able to get it done, and I don't anticipate it's going to be a very dense product. It'll just be like a PDF of basically explaining how to play the game, kind of some condensed rules. Because if you look at the Fate Accelerated core book, it's only 50 pages, so it'll just be a small PDF adapting the rules to Fate Accelerated. Hopefully, about the same time fulfillment happens. Which I think once the Kickstarter's over, some brain space will free up a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
I'll be able to more accurately decide what I can and can't do without having a nervous breakdown.
You mean you have a lot going on during a Kickstarter campaign? I can't imagine.
It's a bit much.
Yeah, no, I can't.
I mean, yeah, if I were like a single dude, or if this were my job, it'd be fine. But coupled with the many facets of adulting, it's a bit much.
Yeah, adulting is not fun.
It's not all it's cracked up to be.
No, not at all. So, how much of this book is done? Like, how much is like kind of quote unquote ready? if you were to put it in like a percentage term?
The text is pretty much in the can.
Nice.
So I'm going through, like, so I got the finished edited text from Brenda Terpstra, our editor, and I'm going through that one more time, trying really hard not to second guess myself and tweak too much, but just tweaking teeny little things here and there, without messing up her wonderful editing job. And then after that, it's just kind of, I'm going to put together a layout draft, which will then go to Paolo, and then Jacob will crank out the art and we'll put it all together. So so the text is basically done, and then once we get that sweet money, then the rest of the wheels will continue to turn.
Nice. Jacob, you said Jacob has to churn out the art. Jacob, what are you looking forward to putting in this book? Is there anything that like you haven't created that you're like, I gotta put this, like somehow I gotta buckle down and just put this illustration in this book somehow? Is there anything like that you're really pumped about trying to get in there?
Well, I've got a list of illustrations planned for the book, and that's what Derek came up with. So, you know, I've looked over that, and I haven't had a ton of time yet to like really like dive into it.
Sure.
I just got married, still haven't moved all my stuff into here, so I don't have my drawing set up. So I need to get that all over here so I can start sketching, and I'm really eager to just kind of sit down with that list of the illustrations and just kind of, you know, I mean, honestly, Derek and I haven't even really, I don't think, talked too much about like my process or anything, but
no.
I did a book about a year and a half ago, I guess, that in a lot of ways is similar, with illustrations interspersed throughout. So this will be kind of a process that I'm used to. So,
Nice.
You know, basically I'm just going to go through these, you know, the list of requested illustrations and kind of start sketching and send them Derek's way. And, you know, definitely once I get in there, I'll have different ideas on like, you know, what if I do this? And
Sure.
Let it kind of grow organically. And
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you post that process at all online so folks can see? Because I personally, from my perspective, I of course I took a lot of art courses in college and in high school and stuff. I love seeing the progression of, you know, as something starts, and then, you know, and I know some artists do that on like Instagram and other social media sites, and I didn't know if folks they could see your progression as well.
Yeah, I've done that a little bit with art that I've posted, and for illustrating the cover for Heavy Metal Thunder Mouse, you know, it went through several iterations and color studies and sketches, and I sent all of that to Derek, and he posted some of that in the video. I believe you can kind of see the illustration evolve from like a really rough digital sketch to the tighter illustration, and then to the final color. I think there's at least 2 earlier phases, or maybe just 1. I don't know, but we had some of that art there. So, I mean, yeah, I always love doing that stuff and posting like on my website, you know, steps in a piece. And so,
Sure.
definitely,
So,
I sent Derek, he's welcome to post.
Nice.
So
Probably will.
You said drawing station, so you do everything by hand, or do you do any like digitally?
I draw digitally on a Cintiq monitor, so I'm drawing by hand, you know,
Yeah.
as I would on paper, but drawing with a stylus directly onto the screen.
Gotcha.
So,
And then you do the colors yourself as well, like the whole process?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Are you prepared for all the crazy requests we're going to get from the backers to pick their own motorcycles?
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's some of the pledges, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many of those have rolled in?
I think all the bikes are taken, and I think there are 3 custom mice. I can tell you in just a second here, but we the only one I know of is I was corresponding with James D'Amato from the One Shot podcast. Was really nice and backed at the bike level, and he wants to do a Dodge Tomahawk, which is this like the craziest motorcycle you've ever seen. It looks like something out of a steampunk movie, but
That's the one you sent me the picture of?
yeah, that's the one I sent you.
Yeah, that was insane.
Okay, so there's 3 custom bikes, and all 5 custom mice have been sold.
Wow.
Wow.
That's great.
So that'll.
I just gotta say,
so that'll be fun for you.
you mentioned One Shot podcast, and that's like one of my favorite right now. It pretty much inspired my whole podcast. So whenever I saw it, I kind of thought, I was like, I bet this would go really well if they played it on One Shot. Like that was one of the first thoughts I had.
Yeah, they do. They're so crazy and hilarious. So I'm sure they would do a bang up job and
Yeah.
crack everybody up in the process.
Nice. So yeah, so you've got what other stretch goals do you have for besides Liz? Because it looks like you're pretty close to Liz's stretch goal, aren't you? If last time I looked, at least.
Yeah, Craig's the first one, and we're about $300 away from Craig's, and then
that's right. Liz is the 800 or 8,000.
Yeah, she's after that. So Liz is after that, and then and like I said, hers is kind of avant sci-fi, where you get your mice on bikes in space, being chased by the crazy horde of hamsters, and then after that, Todd Crapper adapted his High Plains Samurai setting to mice and motorcycles, and then after that, if we suddenly get a big surge at the end, is Steve Radaba's Neo Nezumi, which is like biker mice Akira, like near future katanas and kind of cyberpunk-ish stuff. So we'll see how far we get. I really hope we hit a few of these, just because if only to get Jacob to draw even more cool stuff, because I would love to see sci-fi biker mice.
That would be awesome. Like I'm really hoping for that. That'd be really, really kind of neat to add to the book.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the pledge levels. You've got the least expensive pledge to just get the book or just get the game and play it itself is uses the PDF, the electronic version. It's $10 if I remember correctly.
Yeah, $10 gets you the PDF and fulfilled through drive-through, and you get a lot of game designers have been doing this recently, just because it takes a lot off our plate. Like I said, I don't do this full time. I don't have room in my garage for an offset print run. Have stacks and stacks of books in my garage and then mail them out. So to kind of cut out the middleman, you'll also get a code that will let you buy the physical book through drivethrurpg.com at cost. So it'll be like $4 plus shipping. So it's pretty good deal. So that, and then all the PDF support that we're doing and early access to the game is that first level.
Nice. And then what is the least? What's the next level that folks can back at to actually get the physical book in their hands?
Well, the $10 one gets you the physical book. You just have to go through DriveThruRPG.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So it's been kind of confusing for people. It was funny because when I was setting all this up, I sent it to Jacob. I let my wife look at it. I let game designers look at it. I let like my sister-in-law who does she works for nonprofits and stuff, so she's used to raising money. Sure. So I let everybody look at it, and everybody had an opinion, but it was still, which is great. The feedback was excellent, but it was still kind of confusing for people, the drive-through method. And so I got the graphic up there, I put it in the FAQ. So, if you back at $10, you got the physical book. You just got to make a separate order. And then after that comes the book and the buttons. So for $20, you get the PDF and the print code to get the physical book. and the set of awesome buttons that Jacob designed.
Yeah, those are cool buttons.
Yeah, the 2.25 inches, so nice and big, so you can show them off wherever you may be if you would like to.
Is that also if people can people add those to their pledges? Is that an add-on item as well?
We've stayed away from add-ons. We got some good advice.
Okay, yeah,
so
that's good. It's good to keep that kind of stuff at a minimum.
Yeah, and it's worth saying this is my, even though I've done game design and freelance writing and all that stuff in the past, like this is my first Kickstarter, so I wanted to kind of keep it as simple as possible.
Sure.
So I was afraid of screwing up the add-ons. We did that.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, and then another $20 level, this is actually my wife's idea, was you just get one of Jacob's prints and the set of buttons. So if you just are really into Biker Mice, you don't really into RPGs, but you love Jacob's art, you can just do that as well. And then it continues on from there.
Nice. After this campaign, is there any plans, Jacob? Is there any plans to have these items available on your website or anything? I'm just speaking because I know that my daughter, once she sees these buttons, she's gonna make me change my pledge, and she's gonna want these buttons on her backpack because that seems to be the thing that she does now. Is she has like all these different buttons all over her, and I think I'm probably gonna have to eventually get a set of these buttons at some point, and I can't remember what I know I pledged at a pretty good. I'll have to see if that's included with my pledge, but I'm pretty sure it's not. So I'm gonna have to score some of these buttons at some point.
Well, I think Derek's got his Shoreless Skies web store. So
that's right. So you kind of just funnel through there. I totally wasn't even thinking.
Yeah, all my stuff's on drive-through right now, but just for the very purpose of the prints and the buttons, we might have to set up a separate like pay hip or something. So unless we sell them all, I mean, if we sell them all at the through the Kickstarter, maybe not, but if there's a demand. One of the things is that I found really challenging is people in Europe really want the buttons too, but I'm like, I've got so many pieces of advice that say like, don't do international shipping. It's like, it's just a nightmare.
It's tough.
But at the same time, I'm like, I can't deny we got to set up some Biker Mouse chapters across, Europe. So I might just have to run the risk and ship some of those buttons across the pond.
I know like, what is it? The customs has to, there's so much that they have to pay.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I've heard there was another company or another project that was on, and they said that it was more for them to ship I think it was a package to Germany than the actual like item itself.
Oh yeah.
And it's just it's ridiculous.
So we might have to set up the like call it the Die Hard level where you're willing to pay like $50, however many euros just to get a set of buttons sent to you in like Bulgaria or wherever.
Sure. So now those are just like the basic pledges. Like there's a couple really bigger pledges as well. Do you want to talk about? You've already sold out of the custom bike and the mice pledges. What are some of the other higher pledges that if people want to come on and really kind of go all out? What's I know there's like $100 pledge there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, there's actually, let me see. Yeah, there's actually 2 custom bikes left. So if you want to make Jacob draw a fancy motorcycle, you can spend $75 US American dollars on that. If you are in the South, the Atlanta area, and you're going to be hanging around in March, we are having a local convention called AndoCon, and there's one private game left where I will in person. Well, first of all, you get 4 copies of the book, and then I will sit down with you in person at AndoCon and play and run a game for you. If that's travel and lodging is not included in that.
Oh, I was gonna ask if that was all included because I was ready to sign up. I was ready to change my pledge right then and there.
No. You gotta get down to Atlanta on your own. But Kentucky's not that far, so if you feel like making a drive.
Yeah, it's not a very far drive for me.
No.
If you feel like driving down Atlanta in March, we can hang out. And it looks so. Those are the only 2 left. We sold out of an online game. You spend $80 and I'll run a game for you on Hangouts or Roll20, and then the custom mouse thing sold out as well. So we're doing pretty well. I might have to add a few more private online games because if people are willing to put up $80 to hang out with me in cyberspace, then it might be worth putting up a couple more. So
nice.
So if you're listening to this now, you might as well get on there and get, well, the getting's good.
Well, I was gonna, I do actual plays on this channel, and I saw that you had those pledges, but they were all sold out. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you might have another one scooped up if you put any more on there.
We'll add the $200 victory condition level.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
It would be. We'll have to figure it out at some point. It would be nice to have you on.
Your people can call my people.
Absolutely.
We'll get our daughters on.
That would be. You know what? That would be awesome.
Just might be crazy enough to work.
That would work. So yeah, so I'm going to tell everybody anybody that's watching this right now. Oh, and actually, we had a comment on here. Brian Fitzpatrick, who I had on earlier this week. Do you know Brian? He's a good guy. He's actually got a Kickstarter for another thing on RPG that we're actually going to do an actual play for tomorrow night.
Oh, cool.
Aliens and Asteroids. He says that Mice on Bikes in Space, love it. Very Lobo from DC Comics.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Lobo.
Yeah.
Did you ever read Lobo, Jacob?
Nah. Oh, I definitely know what he looks like, though.
Yeah. I just know him as the goofball who fought Superman.
Yeah.
But I forgot he had that motorcycle in space.
Yeah.
I was always kind of imagining like the Silver Surfer just kind of cruising around the cosmos, except they're mice with motorcycles.
Bikes instead of
mice and bikes.
No, it's so crazy. It's just going to be a huge success for you, and I'm happy for you, and I can't wait to see where this is going to all end up. Well, once this campaign is all said and done, because I think where you're at right now, it's just going to take off even more towards the end, like they usually do. But I think even more so with this project.
All right, thank you. Let's go for that.
So $10. I'm going to tell anybody that's watching, for $10, you can just get this game and have a blast with it. And if you have kids, I'm going to tell you to just pick it up and play it with your kids. And I think it's how we've all spent $10 on something a lot worse in our lives, and I know I've gone to some movies that I've paid more than $10 to go see, and I wish I got that $10 back. And this is a much better deal than that. So, I'm not going to, I can rant and rave about how I spent money going to watch Batman versus Superman, and I want my money back from that movie. But anyway, yeah. Ken, do you have any questions for these guys?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about Thunder City. That's what it is. Thunder City, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I was thinking about like landmarks and stuff, like any interesting landmarks there. I know the docks plays a big part into the setting, but are there like any other like interesting set piece landmarks that people can look forward to encountering or having moments in? Yeah,
there's a couple ones that aren't super duper original but I think are fun and kind of funny. One is the Triple Fur Hotel, which is just there for people who are fond of the mouse and the motorcycle. So it's the same deal where it's this kind of old, maybe rundown hotel, but because it's rundown and not well maintained and a little bit, it's been left to its own for a while. A lot of mice live there, so I kind of imagine Ralph's family from the Mouse and the Motorcycle getting visited by the biker gangs. Like, to me, that image or whatever scene that would be is really funny and amusing to me. And then because every major city has to have a green space, we have Maybach Park. And one of my favorite things about that is that there's these scoundrel chipmunks who have a toll racket that they collect from other animals. But the biker mice are so fast, they can just kind of like shoot past her and flip her off without having to pay. And so like the chief chipmunk really hates the biker mice. And so I'm hoping that some players pick up that story. Because, when you write these books, you try to drop little hints along the way for some potential campaign and session play. And so I'm hoping some table somewhere picks up this idea of Wanda, the disgruntled chipmunk, somehow, some way assembling her own biker club and then going after the mouse gangs. So those are a few. And I'm looking for one thing I'm looking forward to showing off is the map whenever Sam is done with it, and that'll have allow people to kind of visualize the city more and highlight some of the places I just mentioned. So whenever that's done, that'll be a great addition to the book as well.
Yeah, that's cool. I keep thinking about, the city and like what different things to do as mice in a city, and it's just got my brain going on it. So
yeah, the sky's the limit. Everybody can kind of fill in the blanks. When you write a setting like this, it's hard. I try to exercise some restraint. I know a lot of other designers do too, because you don't want to spell out every last little thing. Like you're not writing the Wheel of Time or the Lord of the Rings. You're just trying to give people enough to go on so they can build their own stories on top of that. So I did try to exercise some restraint and not go overboard with all the locales. So not to overwhelm the reader and to also leave lots of gaps for people to fill in. So if you really are interested in seeing mice zoom around a stadium or something like on those drone shows, you could throw that in.
Yeah, it just seems like a setting that's just ripe for just all kinds of things, like with the change of the season, even, the elements that just, I think of tangentially think of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and just images from that. Putting mice in those situations as well. There's just a lot you can do when you scale it down to that size in a big city. So
yeah, and I like that you mentioned the bugs too, because or you mentioned the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which obviously you think about the ant and the spider and stuff. But one inspiration that I hadn't really talked about in all the interviews I've been able to do is a guy named Chris Ballou. So if you guys are you appear to be roughly my age, then you probably remember the presidents of the United States of America.
Yep.
And so that guy, besides the presidents, he has this kids music project called Casper Baby Pants, and most of the songs are about animals and insects. So I definitely borrowed a few a few ideas from him, like where the Godfather Roach lives is called Bug City, which is a president song. So people who are kind of on the same wavelength as me with weirdness and and influences will hopefully catch some of those references.
That's awesome. I love it. I love little Easter eggs like that in projects. I think that's fun.
Yeah, there's a couple. So there's like some name drops and to famous mice, and like I said, lots of musical references in the text and things like that. So we'll see people catch them.
Nice. So yeah, I guess if Kent, you have any more questions for these guys? I've pretty much gone through all the talking points that I had, and like I said, this is the first time I've had a co-host, so I don't want to feel like Kent didn't get to his fair share.
No, you really hit a lot of the same things that I was thinking about. So I don't think I really have anything else wrote down now.
Nice. Well, I'm going to tell everybody, just go check out the Kickstarter. Back this project. It's not. Everybody always thinks the Kickstarter is like this way to make money. I'm telling folks right now, if you're watching this, this is not a money-making project. This is a labor of love. This is like someone that wants to play this game that they thought up while they were spending time with their daughter, and they just want to see it in people's hands and see it being played. So I'm going to tell everybody, just back these types of projects, because they are so much, the world needs these things. And I'm glad that I love Kickstarter for exactly these reasons, just because otherwise, how many these projects wouldn't see the light of day. And, I think that this is really, really important. So anyway, where can folks find you guys online? Let's if anybody's interested in not just Heavy Metal Thunder Mouse, if they're interested in your social media accounts, let's give those a shout out.
Go ahead, Jacob.
I've got jacobhuntcomics.com, and I haven't been great about updating it lately, but a lot of my illustration is there, and some of my comics I do a lot of, or more so in the past did comic book stuff, but I've got a graphic novel that I'm planning to work on, hopefully in the near future.
Nice.
Try to pitch it sometime, I guess, in the next 6 months, I'm hoping I'll have it ready to pitch. But
you want to give us a little teaser about what it's?
Sure.
Yeah, let's get some exclusive Jacob.
The title is Rumspringer, and it's about an Amish kid that has grown up in a really isolated community, and he kind of runs away from home for the first time. But before he even reaches the first city outside of his community, he stumbles into a parallel reality, but he's been so sheltered that he just assumes he's still in the real world. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah. Are you also writing that? Or are you partnering up with somebody? Or
I have a co-writer named Hudson Phillips. He's also a mutual friend of mine and Derek's. I was working heavily on Rumspringer while I was in grad school, and have kind of had to put it down while working on stuff to pay the bills and
Getting married.
Also working on putting out a record with my band. That's
nice
energy, and I'm gonna try to put that on Kickstarter. hopefully I'll get a little love there. But
again, I love Kickstarter for these reasons, because of the fact that like we have such like you guys are all like multi-talented. Like you guys, I love the fact that you're able to share your talents with so much more of the world now because of the these types of platforms. So it's just awesome to see people that are talented in so many different ways.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Rumspringer, the graphic novel, that might end up on Kickstarter too, for all I know.
Well, yeah. Hey, as soon as it does, let us know, because your work is top notch. And I looked through your website there the other day, and I was like, wow, this guy just does phenomenal work. So, we'll be glad to spread a little bit of word of mouth about that project once you decide that you want to release that to the world.
Awesome.
Cool. Derek, where can folks find you?
Probably the easiest thing to do would be to Google Derek Kamal, but if you can remember, you can go to shorelessskies.com, and there are links to all the socials. I'm pretty much active on all the things. Twitter is probably my favorite, so I'm trying to figure out how to grow Twitter followership. It's hard to do.
Twitter's tough, man.
It's tough. There's so many things out there. So that's where all the socials are, and there's also, and that will let you see the different things I've done, some things I'm working on, some other games and writing projects that are going to be one day published through Shoreless Skies. And then there's also a link to my blog, which has some more freeform type writing and short stories and other things that I like to think about. So yeah, so if you just go to shorelessskies.com, you can find your way and connect with me in whatever way you so choose. Unless you are one of these spam Kickstarter companies that are trying to get me to pay thousands of dollars to reach billions of people, please leave me alone.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
What'd you say?
I didn't realize that was a thing.
I didn't either until the day we went live, because so I'm a member of the IGDN, the Independent Game Developers Network, and I got a lot of great advice, but nobody warned me that like the day that I clicked that launch button, I was going to get spammed by all these companies offering to if I just give them a little piece of my soul, they'll get me on like USA Today or ABC News or something.
Then you got YouTubers that email you and say, hey, why don't you come on our channel? And those guys are the worst too. So
the sheer brazenness.
I know, right?
Do that and have me on their show. It's like, come on.
Ugh. Yeah, no, I've heard that's you constantly get spam, that people just it
must be working. They keep doing it.
Yeah, they must be. It must be. So Kent, where can folks find you on social media? Where can they find the Roll to Play podcast?
Yep, I've got rolltoplaypodcast.com, which is just going to redirect you to the Facebook page where I'm most active. I do have Twitter at rolltoplaypod. We're on iTunes, Google Play, finally, basically anywhere you can find us. So
Nice.
we publish. Well, I say we, it's just me, but I like to pretend there's more for me. But
Yeah. Well, I have my daughter, so I say we, and it's just me too. But you know,
maybe
she
I
comes on
just
every
get
once in a while.
lofty that I will have more eventually. But yeah, we go out every Thursday. So usually first thing Thursday morning is sitting there waiting for you.
Nice.
Cool.
We do one shots of different game systems. We've done Everyone is John and Police Cops so far. So
Cool.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, I said that I would keep it under an hour. I am a man of my word.
You did it.
I did it. Usually, I did not go off the rails very often tonight, which is rare for me. So I want to thank you all for coming on and being a part of the show. Go back, Heavy Metal Thunder Mouse, right now. If you're watching this video, thank you guys for coming on. Anytime you guys want to come on, just drop me an email, or a message or whatever, and just say, Doug, I got this project that I want to talk to you about, and I'll be glad to help you guys out and let other people know, because you guys are very talented, and I'm excited to finally to see this finished product in my hand. And I know my daughter is too, because she was very excited when she saw it. So good luck to you. Good luck to the rest of the campaign, and I can't wait to see where this is going to end for you guys. And hopefully it's just one step into many more down the road, and we see tons of projects from you guys in the coming months and years. All right, that's going to do it for me for tonight. I want to thank everybody for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like down below. Check out the links in the description, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for tuning in tonight.